Hey, what's up? DFS Rico coming at you with my LPL and LCK picks for this 5 game slate on April 9th on DraftKings. To get started, I'm just gonna run through the favorites and run through my favorite cash plays and GPP plays. For cash, I'm looking at playing guys like from T1, RNG, and Edward Gaming. Um, they are heavily favorites right now. Edward is a slight less favorite, but they're still favorited. They're a really good team. Their carries are really good. And then Invictus Gaming is a slight favorite over JDG, which is kind of a toss-up. To me, that's more of a GPP play. It's going to be a good game. Both of them on good winning streaks. Both of them have been beating good teams. They're just playing well right now, so it's kind of, in my opinion, it's a toss-up. Invictus is favorited, but they do have the better record. They've been better all season, but Kanavi for JD has been playing really good. And then, so that's really where my upset is. If I could see JD beating um, IG. But let's just get started. I'll run through the positions. I did mention RNG, so like if you're going to be playing cash, I do recommend laying X. I don't think they're crazy for GPPs, but just because they don't have crazy upside. But LGD does lead the slate on deaths as well. So I mean, they could have a huge match, a huge game, honestly, with LGD dying so much and putting themselves out there too much. They average like 15.9 deaths per game, which is insane. And then you got the Shy, top lane for Invictus Gaming, leads the slate on deaths for top laners, but he also leads the slate in kills per game as well. I mean, and that's what you'll notice with Invictus Gaming. They actually lead the slate in kills per game, and they're the second most deaths per game as well. So they're a really active team. Just kind of depends because JDG leads. They're second on the slate with least amount of deaths per game. So it kind of just going to depend on which way the tempo runs. Is it going to be like IG is going to control the tempo, JDG? Just depends who controls the tempo early on. And I mean, that's going to really just solely come down to jungle pressure, depending which junglers are selected. Um, my opinion is it's going to be heavily scoring game. A lot of kills, in my opinion, just because the way Kanavi's been playing. He's been playing a lot of carry junglers. Like Kindred, he played Kindred last week and he carried on her too. Um, but like, let's go back to the top laners. IoT, if you're playing Edward Gaming, he's a solid play. 88 fantasy points last week in 3 games. 70 fantasy points per match, not too bad. Then the other guy I mainly just want to mention, Kana as well for T1. Like I mentioned, I do like him. Nice safe play. Nothing too crazy, just safe. Um, Zoom. If I am playing JDG, I would want to include him just because, like I mentioned, Shy leads his slate on deaths per game in the top lane, and I feel like Zoom can capitalize if Shy is being overly aggressive on him. Just depends what kind of players, what kind of champions the Shy plays as well. He likes to play characters like um, Vayne or Kalista on the top lane, which are carries, which are usually not as tanky. So either they can get a bunch of kills or die a lot. It's going to be like a 50-50. It just depends what kind of pressure the junglers are applying on the top lane. And I think they'll apply a lot of pressure on the Shy just because he's practically the best top laner in the world as well. They might try to like mitigate his ceiling in the early game. Then jungler, whoever starts for T1 I would recommend, but in cash I probably would just avoid them and play the jungler for the other team that I'm going to play with them, whether it be RNG or EDG, just because we're not going to know who starts before lock starts. We're not going to know who's going to be the starter, and I'd rather not take that chance, especially in cash. GPP I can see it, but cash I'd rather just not gamble on that. You could easily get yourself 0 points if you pick the wrong guy. And then Junjia for EDG is not a bad play, 20.6 assists per match. Um, LNG is it's a decent team. They're not too bad though. But LGD does lead the slate in death, so like I do like RNG a lot. They're not a bad team either, but the fact that they lead the slate in death is an advantage for our RNG, which were on a 4 match win streak before they played Invictus Gaming last week in a really good match as well. It's not like they lost to a bad team. Played anyone else, they probably would have had a 5 match win streak. Leon for Invictus Gaming if you're going that way. Kanavi is probably my favorite jungler on the slate. Leads the slate at 4 kills per game. 11 player of the games. He actually leads the slate in player of the games, which is practically saying when the team wins, he's the reason why. He has 11 of them, which is just insane. And over the last 3 matches, I think he has 5 of them in the last 6 matches, 6 games. The last 6 games he has 5 of those, which is just absurd. As you can see, 86, 81, 99 for a jungler at 6,400. If he's given me that, that's really good. I mean, obviously they'd have to pull the upset though. Peanut's another guy I'll mention if you're going to go the opposite way with LGD. And then, I mean, Zhao Hu for cash if you're playing against LGD. Like Rookie, Rookie has the highest ceiling as far as mid laners. He's probably top 3 mid laner in the league. Really good mid laner. But like I said, that's a toss up. Scout, do like Scout as well. Really high ceiling as well. Faker for cash 7.4. I mean, he can play in GPP too, but he just doesn't have that crazy high ceiling like some of these other guys do, like Rookie or Scout, or even Yagao has a slightly better ceiling than him. If you're going to be going that JDG way. And I think that's really it for mid laners. Nothing too crazy. Kind of the obvious guys. You're just picking the carries for the teams you think are going to win usually and build around them. Hope, second on the slate for kills per game with 4.8. So obviously if you're building around Edward Gaming, you're going to want to include him and probably Scout in your lineup. Same thing with like IG. If you're playing them, you're going to want to play Puff and Rookie in your lineup just because Puff leads the slate 5.8 kills per game, which is insane. Highest ceiling in my opinion for the 80 carries on the slate. It's going to be between him or Hope. But I think Hope has the better matchup, but Puff can pop off more than him if they just blow JDG out. Just don't know which way it's going to go. Teddy, and I don't play a ton of lineups every day, so just like I'd rather just play the safer pick. And I do take gambles. I mean, I do play GPPs as well, but like the smaller entry ones, and just I do take chances on those. And then Teddy for T1. If I am playing T1, he's the main guy I would want in my stack. Highest ceiling on the slate, on the team at least. 10.5 kills per match, 12.0. Nothing too crazy. They die the least on the slate. They don't get to. They're like in the middle of the pack with kills per match as well. Nothing too special, but just safe. And then your support. Mean Ming, Southwind. I like Effort as well. And then T1, Royal Never Give Up. Edward Gaming, Invictus Gaming. Can't go wrong with none of them. I do like all of them, especially RNG. And the supports, I just kind of ran through them, but Ming is good for RNG from cash. Southwind leads the slate with assists per game. He leads 23.7 assists per match. He leads the slate with 9.90 assists per game. So if you're going to be playing IG, he's pretty solid, especially if you pair him up with Puff in the bot lane. And Puff is popping off usually. Southwind will be the reason why. Well, he'll gain a lot from that. And then Effort for T1, I obviously save that money if you're playing them in cash. And then Miko for EDG, 22.5 assists per match, which is really good as well. And then Kilo, which is second on the slate in assist if you're going to be going for the upset with LGD, which I don't see. I would play him for sure in the lineup. They're 2-0 since he's been playing when he plays in their starting lineup. So if he is starting, I do like him as well. And just like I mentioned, the teams. Let me refresh this. Teams, the way I'm going at least, like I mentioned, I don't play a ton of lineups, so I am going to be going like T1, RNG, and Edward and Cash. Just finding some ways to 4-3 stack them. And then Invictus and JD Gaming will be like my GPPs. Pairing them up, like pairing up with JD with Edward Gaming might be really good. But I think that's it. So thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. Thank you.